Welcome to Woodward Wings. I am Justin Satawa, and I am joined by Spencer Raxter.
What up, though?
Flannel is on vacation. We should be hearing from him soon, but we have not a lot to talk about. It is the dead season of summer, and the summer of trades has not happened in the NHL like every analyst has said it would, which is kind of really frustrating because I've been sitting here trying to wait for any rumor or any trade for the past 3 weeks that they said there's trades coming, and there's no trades coming.
No, I mean, maybe they're all golfing. Maybe all the GMs are just swimming by the pool, getting their swings in. You know, deals get done on the golf course. So hopefully Stevie's out there politicking with some guys. But, yeah, it's the dead season. It's slow, and I'm not going to, panic about that because it's not just the Wings that aren't making moves. Nobody's making any moves right now. So it's not like everybody's making trades and the Wings are just sitting there. It's the dead season right now. So.
And I've heard sellers market, I've heard buyers market. No one can really find out what is going on because apparently GMs don't want to move certain players. Certain GMs don't want to buy players at the moment. So it's kind of just like this limbo that we're in, even with the RFAs that haven't even signed arbitration yet.
Yeah, I think it's because the cap, the cap is going to boom in a couple years, and you're looking to go up $30 million in the next, 3 years possibly. So they're figuring out, do I want to sign now and take the money? Do I wait? What's going on there? GMs don't really know how these pieces are going to fit once the cap sorts itself out. So there's a lot of and the looming lockout that could possibly happen. So there's a lot on the table right now, and we'll see what happens. I doubt anything crazy like a lockout actually happens, but with the cap going up as drastically as it's reported to, I can see why people aren't jumping to trade pieces or to sign deals because they're holding out to try to get some more money.
100%, and we're seeing contract details come out on Connor McDavid and his negotiations. They're talking 16, 17 million for him. So I think you're 100% right. I think that they're waiting to see what
you can get Connor McDavid for 16 or 17 million. I'd fucking run to the bank right now and do it.
Yeah, I would as well. There's no doubt about it. But there is one name that has floated around in rumors. Brandon Clark is a trade rumor that has come to light in the last couple days, and I think it's a very intriguing one. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, so he does add the size that you're looking for to this blue line. It's also a low-risk move. He has 1 year left on his deal, which he will be an RFA. He is 22 years old, so he fits the table that you're looking for to compete for a Stanley Cup. He had a solid year last year, 33 points in 78 games with a plus 13 rating. His advanced analytics are very good offensively. They're not the best defensively, but when you're looking at a big offensive defenseman who can skate, I think that we're talking about a guy who can really push some pace on this offense.
Yeah, he's not a guy that's going to throw the body around. He's not a guy that's going to out-physical anybody. But last year was kind of his coming-out party in the NHL. He had his first really good season for the Kings, and he did block over 120 shots last year, which is good. You need a guy that'll dive down and get in front of the shots and put his body on the line. That's important, especially if you're not going to be a physical defenseman. If you're not going to be a defensive defenseman, you got to at least throw your body around and get in front of some shots. He is not afraid to do that. He is very willing to dive and put his body on the line, so you like to see that. And like you said, yeah, you could definitely use more offense from the blue line. I think that is a big reason why the 5-on-5 scoring struggled so much last year was because you weren't getting a lot from the blue line in terms of point scoring. He is a guy that would help that, and he's, again, very young. He could fit that kind of timeline with the young defenseman you have as well. If you bring him in here, he does really well. You want to re-sign him there. You got another guy that can fit into that core. But I don't know if this is a move that Stevie would do just because it's I think he wants to look at his own prospects rather than trade his guys to bring in an unproven piece that you have a lot of high hopes for because he showed you something on tape last year, and he's a big dude and good offensively, but I think Stevie would rather ride with his own guys than bring in somebody unproven already.
I think that this one is interesting, especially at the package that is proposed by Heavy.com. If they was this package, I would say yes in an immediate heartbeat. I don't think that this would be the package, though. They say it will be Eric Gustafsson, a second-round pick, and a fourth-round pick.
Oh, well, fuck yeah, dude. What?
I would do that in a heartbeat, but I think that's a little unrealistic of a trade package. I think you would have to give up at least a Wallander or one of your B, C level defensive prospects with the picks. I just don't think why would LA want Eric Gustafsson right now when they're also trying to compete in the Western Conference just doesn't make a lot of sense. I'd rather have Brendan Clark as an offensive defenseman than Erik Gustafsson.
Yeah.
So I don't really know.
If you can get Gustafsson off this team and add a guy like that, yeah, that's an absolute
It's an
win.
absolute no-brainer.
And I don't give a fuck about second and fourth round picks anymore. I'm sorry, I just don't. Yeah, I don't think Stevie will, though.
There's no reason to believe in those types of picks. I mean, the hit rate is so low on them, even for Steve Yzerman, where it gets to a point where if you're trading for a proven guy, you have to do it. And, like, second, thirds, and fourths should not be hang-up deals at this point. You should be willing to give them in whatever package it takes, because at the end of the day, and we've harped on it way too many times, but we need to bring it up again, is this team is completely absent of, if not one, two top six forwards, regardless of what this fan base believes. We are still not good enough in our top six with the offensive firepower, and my worry going into the season is it's going to hinder the growth of guys like Lucas Raymond.
Yeah.
Lucas Raymond not having someone who can complement him on the other wing, outside of someone like James Van Riemsdyk, who is not good enough to do so.
No.
It is just not good for his development, where he's kind of been at this plateau of around 75, 80 points for the last 2 years, where he needs to be looking to explode up to 90.
And, yeah, you need good veterans around young guys to help them develop, and we had some good veterans with Perron and Gostisbehere. Unfortunately, those deals expired, and you tried to replace those guys with other veterans, and they were shit. So that's where you saw kind of the fall off of a Lucas Raymond and of these younger guys, was because they didn't have the good veterans in the locker room to lean on, like a David Perron or a Shane Gostisbehere, and they were leaning on a Vladimir Tarasenko and a Erik Gustafsson, and we know that those guys are dog shit. So hopefully you get some good veterans in there, but this piece, Brand Clark, again, would not be that. I think this would be, if you make this trade, it's Stevie identifying the guy that he wants to power play to point guard his power play. And he did a little bit of that in the first power play unit for the Kings last year. Can he step up and do that full time on a team to lead that power play? That is something you'd have to be assured of. That is something you would be betting on, because that's where he would bring his most value, is being that guy on the first power play. And you don't really have someone on your team right now that could step up into that role. Obviously, ASP is the guy you want to be doing that eventually.
He won't be quarterbacking the power play.
He's not going to be doing it automatically. You want Edvinsson. I think right now you got Mo Seider doing it. I don't want Mo Seider doing that. I would rather have Edvinsson doing that.
I think I agree.
But he's not ready for that yet. Brant Clark is a guy that you'd be saying, okay, he's ready for that. We're trading for him. We're going to do that with him. Again, I don't see Steve Yzerman making this move, because this is a guy that you'd be putting faith in to get better. It's not a guy that you would be bringing in here right now to make a difference and be a piece you lean on. And that's what I need more. And
I don't believe that the ASP will ever quarterback this power play. I think that he is going to be on that wall position in his one-timer spot. He's going to be similar to how not Alex Ovechkin on the power play, but he will play that similar role where he is used as a one-timing weapon. He has one of the best one-timers on a prospect that I have seen over the last 2 or 3 years of really diving into these prospects. He is really capable as well. He's a great passer, and finding those like seam passes to get to the other side, who would be Lucas Raymond over there. I think that there's a lot of nice plays that could be made. But you're right. You are looking for still a quarterbacking defenseman, and I do agree. I think Simon Edvinsson is that guy in the future.
He fits the mold.
He fits the mold great. He's big. He's got a nice shot. He's got a quick shot, and he's a good passer. And
he's got good offensive instincts.
He's a great skater, too, for his size.
Good skater for his size. And I think everybody can kind of admit that he has a lot more offensive upside than Mo Seider does.
Yes.
And I know Mo Seider tried to do that role last year kind of out of necessity, because
he was solid.
It was supposed to be Gustafsson,
yes,
but he's dog shit, so you can't use him. He was solid. He did fine in that role, but hopefully Edvinsson takes that step forward and could be that eventually, but we don't know yet. And that's part of the reason why we want to see them go out and get guys, because you have a lot of question marks with the development of these young players.
And I think if you were to bring in Clark, I think him and Johansson would be a pretty nice pair together. I think that Johansson's defensive mindset and grittiness is a good pair for a puck-moving offensive defenseman, and maybe just playing around guys like Seider, who's a absolute physical specimen, who's a beast, who loves to hit, might rub off on a guy like Brant Clark a little bit, as you know it has on Simon Edvinsson. You saw his physicality grow last year, and we saw saw the percentages. I believe he was in like the 66th percentile for hitting, which is not good enough for Simon Edvinsson. He needs to be better. But I expect with seeing Mo Sider, how he's grown and how he's become into the 99th percentile in hits, that I think that Edvinson's going to take a similar track. I don't expect him to be one of the hardest hitters and most hitting more often than not, but I think
that's Mo Sider.
That's Mo Sider, but you need to get a sliver of that out of Simon Edvinsson, where he still is a big body and he still needs to be contributing, because you see how the Panthers are built. The Panthers are hitting at all times. As if there's a body in front of them, they're hitting it, and that's where you have to get to in this current NHL era, because that's the only way you beat teams that are more skilled and more talented than we are.
Absolutely, and you need that throughout your defense, even if you're not the big body, physical defenseman.
That's why I love Johansson so much.
Yeah, he's not the physically imposing defenseman, but he's going to put you on your ass, and he's going to go in there and make sure you're tasting the boards. So,
is it crazy? He reminds me a little bit of Cronwall.
Not really. No, I don't think that. Cronwall wasn't the biggest guy, but you felt him out there.
And he was never like that surefire first line
elite defenseman.
He was a second
guy
on a good first pairing, and I think that's something that Johansson could be a good second guy on a second pairing.
If you have an elite one.
Yes, an elite one.
Yeah.
A truly elite one, like if he was playing with Nick Lindstrom.
Yes.
Johansson would be a great...
If anybody's playing with Nick Lindstrom, they're going to look pretty fucking good.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just...
No, I know what you mean.
The
I agree.
layup example would be with Nick Lindstrom.
I agree. And when we're looking at Brandt Clarke, I like his piece as a development with the rest of the young guys we have now, because he is a guy that will push the offense from the defense. And we know that, yes, Edvinsson's offensively inclined and Johansson's good at getting out and skating in the open ice, but none of them really push the puck to get into offensive zones and to create opportunities for themselves.
100%.
And Brandt Clarke will do that.
Yes,
he will push the puck, and he will create offensive opportunities that will allow for rebounds or allow for other things to happen from your forwards, and that's something the defense really doesn't have right now.
Yeah, no, they do not. And to go back to the first line for a second, because I wanted to ask you, as we're sitting right now, there's a lot of people who want Marco Kasper playing on that first line wing spot, and I think that gives you some versatility in your lineup, but at the end of the day, I think it makes you overall worse. And even if Marco Kasper is playing center, I think that if without any changes to the current first line of Larkin and Raymond, I believe that Kasper, DeBrincat, and Kane is your first line.
I don't hate that. I really don't.
Because if you're going to tell me that James Van Riemsdyk is that other winger, then I'm going to tell you that that's a second line.
That's a second line. Yeah,
and Kasper, and you saw it last year. I don't need to play the game of hypotheticals. We saw them playing like a first line for a good part of the season, where they put on a nice streak of games where they were one of the best lines in the Eastern Conference. I don't know. I know Kane on the first line scares you.
Kane on the first line is so scary, because he's such a liability in 5-on-5 defensively, and I would prefer Kasper as your second line center, because I think that will be best for him. I think that would be best for your lines. But if Kasper is your second line center, then Patrick Kane has to be on the third line, if that makes sense, because Patrick Kane has to be on a line centered by Kopp, because he needs that defense to make up for his lack of defense. You need somebody out there that will offset his lack of defense. And I think Kasper can eventually be that rat and a physical guy, but not a truly lockdown defensive center that you need to have out there with Patrick Kane if you want him getting that 5-on-5 play. Again, you know that I think if Justin Hall is on your team and Patrick Kane is in your top six, you're not making the playoffs. But we're going to see. And when I look at how this team is made up, Marco Kasper has to be a first-line wing.
Yeah.
You don't have another first line. I don't want James Van Riemsdyk on the first line.
No.
I don't want.
I'd rather play Kopp at second line center.
I'd rather play Kopp at second line center, which
really
sucks. But it's not like a terrible fit.
No, it's not a terrible fit.
It sucks for DeBrincat. If it sucks for anybody, it sucks for DeBrincat. Yeah. I like the pairing of Kopp and Kane on a line because they complement each other so well, but that puts so much pressure on DeBrincat to do so much on that second line. We know what DeBrincat is. He's an upper-level goal scorer, And he has a little grit to him, but he's a little guy. There's only so much he can do, you know?
And when he plays with those two, he has to push pace. He's not playing his normal role where he's able to kind of float around, find those open creases, and get those.
Nobody's going to be breaking out in front of the defense, drawing people in to kick it back to DeBrincat. Obviously, Kane can do that if he gets the puck at his opposing blue line, but he's not going to take it, 200 feet and go to the other goal.
And we love Patrick Kane.
We do love Patrick Kane.
Let's not twist.
He's very limited at this point.
But he's still very limited, and everyone is just Showtime and wants to say and play in this hypothetical land that he.
You know who doesn't give a fuck about Showtime? The Florida Panthers don't give a fuck about Showtime. They don't care about looking good. They don't care about the flash and scoring goals. They care about beating the shit out of you for 60 fucking minutes. And then throwing you away. And then you're so downtrodden that you have these guys who again, I don't want this to come off as hate on Patrick Kane, but I'd rather have Rodriguez, Luosterainen, Verhaeghe. Any of these guys is a better second or third line option than Patrick Kane because that's what you need when you're playing NHL hockey. Patrick Kane, I love him. Greatest American-born hockey player of all time. He needs to be on the third line. He needs to be in that Vladimir Tarasenko role where he's not a liability in 5-on-5 and he gives you the production in the power play. But he cannot be a guy you legitimately rely on in your top six.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that people live in this fantasy land where he didn't have hip surgery, where he still has all the wheels, and it's just not reality. And it really bothers me because it's like they don't even watch. He scores big goals, but if you watch how he scores goals, it is when he is given space and he is given time to be able to take a snail's route to the front of the net and go snipe the goal. He still has all the skill in the world.
Yeah.
His hands haven't flawed.
No.
His shot hasn't gone anywhere. He's still elite at his hands.
He's just
power
slow.
Play, his vision. He's just so slow. He's so limited defensively. And in a playoff series, and this is where everyone is just losing reality. In a playoff series, Patrick Kane is not going to be able to hold up over 7 games and be effective.
He will be attacked like Austin Reeves in isolation.
Literally.
If you have Patrick Kane on the ice in a playoff series, he will be attacked by opposing teams.
They are going to run.
Especially with DeBrincat out there at the same time. No disrespect to DeBrincat, but when you got to be the tough guy on that line, it's not looking great.
Yeah, and we're talking about teams are just going to be able to exploit it by going low to high cycles and taking Kane, moving him anywhere they want on the ice until he's just where am I going? I'm not good enough defensively. I'm lost. And then all of a sudden there's a guy wide open backdoor for a goal, and that will happen multiple times in the playoffs.
Rodriguez, Barkov, Tkachuk. You putting Kopp, Kane, and DeBrincat out there against those guys?
No.
I'm not. Well, you're going to have to, but fuck.
Yeah, and I just...
And again, I know it's the Florida Panthers. I know they're, I think, one of the best teams ever assembled in the non-salary cap era. But that's who you're looking at because you're not going to get into the playoffs as a 5 seed. No. You're not just going to be able to play one of these. You're going to sneak in. You're talking about playing Toronto or you're talking about playing Florida, and those are teams that...
And even Toronto's more physical than you.
Yeah. We would get swept by Toronto.
Because
they're more... Austin Matthews, say what you want about the guy. He's going to beat the shit out of our small forwards. He's played playoff hockey for a long time. He knows how it feels, and he's a big dude. Yeah. And he plays both sides of the ice. I know that everybody likes to say that Toronto's so soft and Austin Matthews and Marner don't. They are good defensive players, and they will. It's all right. Can't even get too upset. We got to make the playoffs first.
Yes, we got to
make the playoffs first.
Right now, let's talk about making the playoffs. I mean, I was talking to Sean about it, and Sean expects the Red Wings to be better, but at the same time, every team got better.
Yes.
And that's the issue.
Yes. The Red Wings were behind a lot of teams, and they didn't get better than they got better. You were already behind teams, and we talked about New Jersey and how they're going to be better than they were last year. New York is going to be better than they were last year. Boston is going to be better than they were last year. John Gibson is going to provide a lot. He is going to help a lot. A full year of Todd McClellan is going to help a lot. Getting rid of Tarasenko is going to help a lot. But you still need to secure your bottom 6 is better. You still need to secure your top 6.
Yes, 100%. So let's talk about just the division. Let's start in the Eastern Conference Atlantic Division where the Red Wings reside. Number 1 team last year, Toronto Maple Leafs, 108 points. Don't think that we're touching that.
No.
Tampa Bay Lightning, 102 points. Don't think we're touching that.
Nope.
Florida Panthers, 98 points. Don't think we're
on a
touching
down year. No.
On a down year.
No.
And won the Cup.
All
right. So there goes those 3 playoff spots right there. So we only have 2 left that we can even compete for at that point because the new divisional format. So in the Metro, I believe that the Caps will make the playoffs again, the Hurricanes will make the playoffs again, and the Devils will make the playoffs again. All locks over 100 points. You think that's fair?
I think that's fair.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe not the Caps.
That's the one I was,
All right.
Devils are going to be a lot better, though. Hurricane, they're a machine.
All right, so the teams that we have left, okay?
Fuck.
Here we go.
Boston, New York.
So, yeah, exactly. So we're currently at 6 teams. So the teams that are left in the Eastern Conference, we have Ottawa, who finished with 97 points last year.
Not better than Ottawa, I'll tell you that.
And they're just more physical.
I would sell our entire team for Brady Tkachuk. Literally everybody we have.
Yeah. And you saw it every time we played them last year. Like, they physically dominated us.
Dude, I love the Tkachuks.
They're awesome.
They're so awesome. I fucking wish the Red Wings had one of those fucks, dude.
It would be nice.
It would be perfect.
It would be perfect. Imagine
That's
Brady.
Exactly what we need.
Imagine Brady Tkachuk with Larkin and Raymond. I mean, that's a fever dream.
That is a fever dream.
That is a perfect fit.
That is
on
a perfect
our first
fit.
line. All right.
Obviously, it's not.
So we're not better than the Sens. So that's 7.
No.
The Montreal Canadiens, 91 points last year. We had 86. They added Noah Dobson, and they added a couple other impact forwards that are filling out their needs.
Canadians still have a lot of questions, though.
I think the goalie is the one thing where you can look at the Red Wings and say, okay, maybe we got a chance.
Yeah.
Because Gibson is better than both their goalies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Canadians are not a lock to make the playoffs again next year.
All right, but we are at 7 locks right now.
Yeah. And we haven't talked about...
And, let me get to the next 2 teams. The Columbus Blue Jackets.
Were they just a riding the dream kind of feel last year? Because obviously, rest in peace, Johnny Hockey, absolute...
They could have been.
Legend. Maybe it was just something like
peace.
that where they were so compelled by that they overperformed who they are, but...
They got some good young players.
You look at their team, and they've got really good young players. So, again, Montreal, Columbus, I'm not locking
some
either.
Quality depth pieces as well. So I'm not locking them as well, but I think that's the conversation.
I'd say they're better than the Red Wings right now.
Yes.
The Red Wings would have to outperform both of those teams. I don't think either of them are locks for the playoffs, but the Red Wings aren't in the playoffs right now. They're not a lock. They're not even, I would be like, okay, yeah, the Red Wings will make the playoffs. If you put a gun to my head right now, I would take both of those teams over the Red Wings to make the playoffs.
I think that is completely fair. I think that they have less holes than the Red Wings do.
Yeah.
So now we go to the teams that underperformed last year. The New York Rangers, they had 85 points. The Red Wings had 86.
They're going to be over 90 again.
They're going to be over 90. Just purely off the fact that they are going to fix their chemistry issues, and they have the best goalie tandem in the league.
Yeah.
With Sorokin or not Sorokin. I'm looking at the Islanders.
Yeah.
With Quick and Shesterkin. No.
Shesterkin, you had it right.
Oh, it was Shirt. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, my bad. It's been a long week, okay?
It's all good.
But
it's been a long week. You got a lot on the mind right now.
I think it's...
And nobody's fucking talking about hockey.
And the Rangers, their goal differential last year, +1, where the Wings were -21. And I know goal differential doesn't mean a lot, but at the end of the day, I mean, they're going to be better than us next year. They have more star power.
They're going to be over 90 points.
For the playoffs.
They have better players. They have solidified stars in the league. And like you said, Johnny Quick, when you need him to spot start a couple games, he's still got the fucking magic. He still looks really good.
Dude, thinking about the fact that, our spot starter is Cam Talbot and their spot starter is Jonathan Quick.
Yeah.
Blows my mind. It actually gets me a little mad.
Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily.
Right?
I think he won a Vezina.
But Osgood isn't. I think they both should be.
I think they really have a weird criteria for goalies.
They do, because Carey Price. I mean, obviously, Carey Price is insane, but Osgood not being in, I don't know. Osgood not being in the Hall of Fame is a fucking travesty.
It is. It's honestly a sin.
Jonathan Quick is going to be in the Hall of Fame for sure.
So, I'm more down on the Bruins since the last time we talked about them.
I just fucking hate Carey Price. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I just don't think that they have a good enough roster around Pastrnak. Like, Pastrnak will carry them through, like, a lot of the season.
Yeah.
But, I mean, asking a guy to, like, single-handedly carry your offense.
No.
And then they have holes in their defense as well. I don't see it with them. I think that they're probably going to get Gavin McKenna.
Pasta.
No, they're going to get Gavin McKenna.
Yeah, I know.
And then they're going to have Hagens, McKenna, and Pastrnak, and then they're going to be good again, and it's going to be really annoying.
Yeah, sure
is. I'm like, Witt said it on Spin Chicklets the other day. He's like, if Boston has a bottom 5 record, I guarantee you they get Gavin McKenna. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Gavin McKenna will be a Boston Bruin, most likely. It just makes too much sense. They're going to do the little, you're a struggling Original Six franchise. Here's a generational talent.
Yeah, except for us.
Except for
it happens to everybody but the Red Wings.
Well, I think it's because they think that Boston's a better city than Detroit, and I think that they think it's a bigger market, and they actually care about it. But that's a question for a different day. I'm done depressing myself over that.
Yep.
New York Islanders as well. I think that there's an argument to be made for them that they are just as good as the Red Wings. They have a better goalie. They added Matthew Shaver, who will be an impact offensive defenseman for them at the least at some point this year. I think that they have some pretty good stars on that team. They got Barzal, who would be the best player on the Red Wings if he was here.
Yep.
They have Horvat, a couple other guys. They added some couple nice vets to fill out their top 6, unlike the Wings. I think that that's a tough conversation that they are probably also better than you.
So we're looking for the Wings to jump at least 3 teams.
Yes.
When you look at Columbus, and it's not going to happen with Ottawa, but you got to put
Columbus and Montreal.
You got to put New York over them right now. Even though New York was bad last year, that's not going to happen again. You got to put New York over them right now just based on talent alone.
And they added Garkiev too.
Yeah, and the goaltending combo that we talked about.
They were only 1 point worse than you, and they did better things in this offseason than you did. I mean, it's just how it is.
So to make the playoffs, the Red Wings will have to at least jump Montreal, Columbus, and New York. And that's
We didn't even talk about the Flyers.
That's hoping the Flyers don't sink. That's hoping the Penguins stay dog shit. And hoping that everything that you're counting on works. You're hoping that your top 6 is solidified. You're hoping that John Gibson isn't facing 50 shots a game.
I don't think you can make the playoffs without your top 6 being solidified. I think
if they don't make an addition to the top 6, I don't think they make the playoffs.
No, I don't think they will either.
Like I said, dude, with a second line that, as it's panning out right now, of DeBrincat, Kopp, and Kane, you're not making the playoffs with that. You can't.
There just seems like they're leaving holes on this roster for young players to step in.
It does.
That's the only way I can even rationalize it at this point.
But can you count on a Danielson to step in and be a top 6 forward in the NHL his first year? Can you count on an ASP to step in and be a top 2 pairing defenseman in his first year in the NHL?
I think it's a lot to
ask.
You
can't. And I know that it's not all on this year for Steve Yzerman, but it really fucking feels like it. It really feels like that this is the year they got to fucking show something. Like, you took a step back last year. That was the first time under Steve Yzerman you took a step back. You were worse than you were the year before.
And you did it in a year where every team decided that they were going to grow as a team and and make it tougher and more competitive in the Eastern Conference, because you were supposed to be in this rise of young teams with Montreal and with Columbus and with Ottawa, but you are the worst of the 4 at the moment, and you were at many points the best of the 4.
Like I said, if you tell me that the Red Wings are going to be better than Montreal and Columbus next year, that is an argument I could buy. You could talk me into that. It would take some talking, but you could talk me into that. Those 2 teams are not solidified yet.
No.
We're not going to be better than Ottawa, and I think New York is going to be a 90 to 95 point team next year. So
I think they take that 3rd spot in the Metro from the Caps. I think the Caps are a wild card team next year.
Yeah, I think the Caps are. I mean, they're on life support, but they're grabbing people out of old folks' home. RIP TJ Oshie. Like
they lost
definitely
Mazepan, who was a pretty big part of their team last year. Like the only way
I
that,
could definitely
that
see
teams
the
like the
Caps
Caps
falling.
work is if you actually have all the pieces to make all 4 lines really like solid, or if there's any drop off on any line, you start to feel it. And I think that's what you see with the Red Wings. That the Red Wings could be a really good team if they just filled out the rest of their depth pieces with actual solid players who were at least third line caliber.
Yeah,
but
we're trying to be like Carolina, but we're not good. That's what Carolina has 4 lines of guys that could play on your second line.
And Carolina still finds a way to get whooped in the playoffs every year.
Yeah, because
So, like, why are we
Stars win in the playoffs.
Yes. Oh, jeez, dude. Oh, man. This has just turned into such a depressing offseason.
It's not over.
It's not over.
And like you said, we're not anywhere further than where we were a couple weeks ago, which was us crashing out violently. So I guess we could still be doing that. But it's not like anybody else has gotten better since then, and we are sitting.
That's true.
Everybody else we're all sitting here
Everyone
waiting
is
for
stagnant.
something to happen.
Everyone's stagnant right now, and I guess that is a saving grace because it still does give the Red Wings an opportunity to capitalize. I think there are still options out there. I just don't know how attainable all of them are. It seems like there's such a premium on every player on the market where you're going to have to overpay. And the one thing I think that Steve Yzerman's proven is that he is unwilling to overpay, and that's where I think I'm starting to get nervous and worried about this offseason is because Steve Yzerman has shown that he won't give up premium draft capital. He won't do a trade where he feels like he's overpaying for a guy.
You're going to have to.
And you're going to have to. So I think that this is a fork in the road for Steve Yzerman. Is he going to stick to his morals and his principles, or is he actually going to try to improve the team and wager some of his future to win now?
If you truly want a legitimate, solidified top 6 forward, you're going to have to overpay for him. Nobody's just going to give those guys away. And I love Steve Yzerman, but I find it really hard to believe he's going to finesse another GM out of a top 6 guy. If you finesse a GM out of somebody, it's going to be a guy that you want to turn around or a guy you think is going to play a lot better in your system than they did for that team. So it's somebody. But if you're looking at a guy that's like, okay, he is a top line forward on any team he plays at, you're not going to steal that away from somebody. You're going to have to give up premium assets.
And I think that there's a case that actually just happened with them, with Buffalo re-signing Bowen Byam. They were still looking to trade him.
Yeah.
Like they re-signed him for 2 years, but essentially just to trade him with to get a bigger package.
I think the saving grace of this Red Wings team, the only way that you could go opposite of what I just said and get a guy that would solidify your top 6 or solidify your top 4 defense without overpaying for him is if you sack and pillage Buffalo. If you just go into Buffalo and get Tage Thompson or get Owen Power because they're fucking Buffalo and they're going to do something stupid. Those are legitimately 2 names that are the only things I could see working, of getting an impact player while not giving away legitimate.
You could even go after Alex
assets.
Tuck, who's there, who's a big body in front of the net, got a nice shot. He led the league in tipping goals last year.
That would be more of a Steve Yzerman move.
Yes.
For sure.
And I said that last trade deadline as well, that Alex Tuck would be a name that I'd think about exploring. I think it's a name that still should be explored by Steve Yzerman. He doesn't have a lot of term left on his deal. He might even be an expiring free agent. But I believe that would be a Steve Yzerman move, and that would help a guy like Lucas Raymond grow. I mean, we're talking about giving him someone who can just sit in the front of the net and score pucks.
That is everything Lucas Raymond needs.
I know.
Dude. Somebody that's going to make it to where Lucas Raymond doesn't have to be fighting for his life out there, and a big body that Lucas Raymond could just throw pucks at. Like, yeah.
And then it
awesome.
will open him up to also score more goals. Right now,
Yes.
I feel like he's dealing with a kind of a boa constrictor type of deal with when he's in the offensive zone. Teams are keying on him because they know he is the only one who can really make a play with the puck. And that's nothing against Dylan Larkin. I think Dylan Larkin can make plays with the puck, just not at the level that Lucas Raymond can. Lucas Raymond.
I think we all know what Dylan Larkin is
Yes.
now.
But Lucas Raymond has that ability to make defenders miss, to make plays by himself in the offensive zone. And I think teams kind of choke down on him. They sag off the D a little bit. And just even sagging off the D a little bit because the D aren't a factor offensively hurts our offense and makes it where it gives Lucas Raymond less space. And if you think about guys like Patrick Kane in his prime, and that's not what I'm saying that Lucas Raymond's going to be, but the way that they take space is very similar. You can see it when he's playing for the Blackhawks, where Patrick Kane just has an abundance of space to make moves in the corner. You can even see it with guys like Pavel Datsyuk when he was
people are scared of him. Because if you get too close to him, he's going to go past you.
Yes, and there's other guys on the ice that are taking away some of, because when Lucas Raymond will be at his best, teams will have to choose whether they want to let him walk him or take the guy back door.
Yeah.
And that's a dangerous choice that you have to make when a guy is as good of a passer.
Such a good facilitator.
And has as good of hands as Lucas Raymond, and that's where you have to get him to.
That is where you have to get him to.
And the only way to get him there, though,
provide upper echelon talent.
is provide him a first-line winger.
Yes.
And they just, like, Larkin's not enough. Like,
No.
Larkin is a solid third first-liner.
Yes.
Raymond could be a first liner, and he needs to find that second first liner. So is that someone in the trade market? Hopefully, but if it's not, my bet's on Michael Bronson-Nygaard.
Yeah, I mean, I love MBN, and I love what he can be.
I don't know if
I'm not putting my stock in him
I'm
to
not
be the
putting
missing
it
piece. He can't
next
play
year.
first line next year. There's no way.
I'm putting stock in it the year after, though. I believe in that kid, and like, I think that he's shown a lot more than even Nate Danielson in the pro level.
Yeah.
And
I think he's our second best prospect. Well, outside of Trey Augustine, I think he's our second
best prospect that is playing pro hockey.
Yes, I love him. I was fucking geeking when we drafted him. He's exactly what he's going to be. Your favorite player when he's on this team.
Yes.
He is a playoff forward, and he would be great. But you can't rely on him next year to be that.
No, you cannot. I did think it was good to see that he wasn't at the mini camp after the draft, in that like 3-on-3 training camp they do.
Yeah.
He was not there, and I did want to see that. I wanted to see no ASP. I think that's a good show piece, whether players are going to make the team or not. I thought last year that Danielson had a chance to make the NHL roster, but he was there. And I think that was a telling factor that they were out on him making the NHL roster.
He looked bad in the playoffs. I don't want to say bad, but he didn't look like you wanted him to look.
No.
If he was going to be your second line center.
He didn't look
next
like
year.
an NHL player.
No, he did not. Like we said, Lombardi and MBN were probably the best looking Griffins in the playoffs.
And
last
Anton
year.
Johansson.
Yeah. And fuck, dude, if he could.
I wish he would have came. I don't know why he went back to the SHO. I don't know why they don't try to negotiate better and try to make sure that some of these guys come over. Like ASP last year being in the AHL probably would have been better for him than him going back to the SHL.
It would have shown him what he needs to work on and got him more acquainted with North American hockey.
Yeah, and I think that I'm honestly scared that they're going to do it again and keep him down there the entire year, which if he's not ready, he's not ready, and they shouldn't 100% keep him down there, but I'm worried that he's going to be ready at some point this season, and they're going to baby him, and they're going to keep him in the
And then you'll have to shave your beard.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he'll play a game,
Well.
but at least. But you never know with Steve Yzerman. I mean, he slow-played Cider for ages.
Yeah.
And that Advidson.
Yeah, and looking at what he's done in the offseason, Steve Yzerman doesn't believe this is a playoff team. I mean, you can't tell me that he's looking at this roster and he's like, we're going to make the playoffs in the East. Nobody can sit there and look at this Red Wings roster and be like, this is a playoff team in the East. I guarantee it. No, they have to be gifted a playoff spot by a couple teams ahead of them falling off. That's the only way. Unless Todd McClellan gets the boys playing a whole season like they did the first 20 games.
Which I do expect there to be improvement.
There's definitely going to be uptick for a full year of McClellan for sure, but
is it enough?
Not enough. No,
it's like that's only like worth like a 4-point jump. Like I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Like it will win you a couple games that you would have lost with Alon, but it's at the end of the day, it's not going to be the saving grace of you like being 10 points down from the Rangers. Well, that was a depressing episode. Hopefully,
it's all right.
The vibes get higher as we get closer to the season.
I'd really love to be glazing Steve Yzerman for getting John Gibson, because I don't think we've talked about enough how good of a move that was.
No, we haven't.
Pretty much trading Joe Veleno for John Gibson. Insanely good move by Steve Yzerman. Huge upgrade needed to happen. But unfortunately, there were 3 holes that needed to be filled, and only one of them has been filled.
One. So we said we needed to see 2 of the 3 for it to be a successful offseason, and that's why we are acting like this, because this team is still a little bit of ways away. But hopefully you are not ways away from that like button and from subscribing. We would appreciate it so much. You guys make this thing go. We appreciate all the love
you
that you
guys.
guys have been showing us on these episodes. We love talking hockey with you, and we will continue to bring you Woodward Wings every Saturday at 10 a.m. Might move when football season starts, but we will get to that when it's close to football season. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Woodward Wings. We'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.